Hi, my name is Amy, aka Phoenix Rising. I have some notes here, so if I look down at my notes, please excuse me not looking at the camera. So I wanted to introduce myself. I am in my early 30s. I still live at home with my parents, and I have severe OCD. It has been severe for about 7 or 8 years now. The first time I actually had to quit working was in 2012 because of my OCD. And yeah, so, and then I worked off and on and had to quit because of my OCD again. So, but that's another story for another day. If you see my video cutting out and then starting, it's because I'm babbling and I just cut it out in editing because I don't want to bore you with any dumb details. So I want to start out why I was filming this experience. It's because there's not a lot of people or a lot of information video-wise or written-wise of people's experiences with what I'm going to do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have surgery. It's not experimental surgery. It's just a newer application of a surgery they've had since the late 80s. It's called Deep Brain Stimulation. It is where they implant electrodes into the middle of your brain, and there will be these little wires that are about as thin as angel hair pasta that they will implant into your brain on both sides of the on each hemisphere. And it will go in, I believe it's called the amygdala, the bottom part of your brain, where a lot of your anxiety and emotions and where things go wrong with OCD. That's also the area that also Parkinson's and Tourette's syndrome and a couple other things go wrong, and they use this surgery for those things too. The surgery is mostly widely used for Parkinson's disease, but they're now starting to use it for OCD. And so it's going to be an exciting ride. What I want to accomplish with this video is I want to be able to reach out to those who either have severe OCD or have OCD and just want to know more about how to help themselves get better. I've done everything I can to get better, and so I'm at the point now where a surgical procedure is needed. But not everybody is going to need that. There's only a small percentage of people with OCD that will have what they call resistant OCD, where regular medicines and regular techniques don't work very well for them. But there are tons of options for people who have mild OCD, severe OCD, and so I just want to reach out to those people. I also want to reach out to those people that are where I'm at, where they are considering surgeries, and they just want to know how the surgery is going to go. And so I'm going to vlog my experience before and after and during, and let them know how it goes, and give them all the information I get and what they see, and then they can take the information how they want and move on from there. I just know there's not a lot of information out there because I've looked, and I mean, there are maybe little clips or little snippets of things on YouTube or other places, but there's not a lot of information, first-hand information of how the surgery goes. So I want to be able to show that. So my experience with DBS so far is back in 2016, I got a call from my psychiatrist saying that the University of Utah, because I live in Utah, was opening up surgical procedures for people with resistant OCD. And so I had called them up, and so that in February, so February 2017, I went and met with their neuropsychiatrist, and we did some testing and stuff, which I'll talk about in a minute, and I qualified for the surgery, and then we had this whole battle with insurance, which I'll talk about later too. Yeah, it's been a long battle. It's been about a 1.5 year battle with insurance. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about the options I was given. I was given 3 options. There's DBS, which is the implants. The thing about DBS that's more appealing is that DBS is reversible, meaning that they'll implant the implants, and then it will have a battery pack and a wire up to those. We'll have a battery pack here underneath your skin, like a pacemaker. And that's kind of how they describe it to people, is it's like a pacemaker for your brain. And it's reversible. You can either turn it off and not use it if you have negative side effects, or, I mean, it's expensive to have them take it out, but they can take it out. Whereas the other 2 options are surgical. The other 2 options are a capsulotomy and a cingulotomy. And the differences between those 2 is just the different area of the brain. The capsulotomy is going to be in the area, I believe, where they're going to put the electrodes in my brain. And the cingulotomy, I think, is higher up in the brain. Basically what they do is they will kill like a square millimeter of your brain tissue. They will kill it, meaning that once it's gone, you can't get it back. It's irreversible. They do it 2 ways. They can do the capsulotomy or the cingulotomy either by gamma knife, which is they use radiation from several directions, so that when it hits the spot that it wants to kill, it will kill that spot. That's the non-invasive way. The other way is they actually go in surgically and they use a thermal heating tool, I think, and just burn that area. I never really felt comfortable with those options. I had read about DBS earlier before I had the option of having it, and it kind of appealed to me, but I had other options to do first. How you qualify for these surgeries is you have to try all the meds that are listed for OCD. I have, over the years, since probably 2003, when my OCD really started showing up, I've tried all the meds they've asked to try. They just don't work for me very well. And so, yeah, you have to try all the meds and not have a certain amount of success with them. You also have to do therapy. The therapy they are talking about is called cognitive behavioral therapy. They call it CBD therapy. But in that range of CBD therapy is ERP, which is called exposure response therapy, or exposure response prevention therapy. That's where you actually confront your fear and wait for the anxiety to come down. Obviously, they don't start you out with the hardest part. They will start you out with little things, maybe like looking at a picture. And then once your anxiety comes down from that and that doesn't bug you anymore, they'll move up to something else until you get to your ultimate goal. Well, to qualify for this surgery, you have to at least have had intensive outpatient at least twice doing this. I did it back in 2016, and I did it in 2013. And the first time I did it in 2013, I got probably about halfway through my goals, and then I had to leave because I didn't have enough money to stay at the facility I went to. We had to pay for it ourselves. It was extremely expensive because my insurance didn't cover it. And it stayed for quite a while. It stayed for about a year, and then my symptoms came back. And when that happened, that's when I worked again, and then I had to quit again. And then in 2016, a place here in Utah opened up, and I went there, and I got better for a little while, but it went downhill a lot faster than the last time. I just couldn't keep any of my success, and it was really upsetting. And that's why when I got this phone call from my psychiatrist about this surgery, I got really excited because I felt like this was something I needed to do. Something else you have to do to qualify for the surgery is you have to go in and see, for me it was Dr. Kaez at the U of U, University of Utah. He is a neuropsychiatrist, and he was the one that does all the interviews for the surgeries. He is also the person that will adjust the surgical appliance once it's implanted. They'll spend probably the next year doing that because you can tailor it to the person, how much voltage is in your brain and how often it pulses and all that technical jargon. So he will be doing that. So he had me do a memory test because they want to make sure that your normal memory, because they don't want to do anything in your brain if you don't have normal memory. They had me do a Y-box score, which anybody who has ever dealt with OCD usually has taken a Y-box. I think it's called the Yale-Brown. I can't think of it right now, but it's just a questionnaire that helps doctors know how severe your symptoms are. You also have to not be suicidal. There are some people out there that are suicidal, and they don't want to do a surgery on someone that might take their own life. So you can't be suicidal. I've never been suicidal in my life. That's just not something I ever thought was an option. And you have to become, I guess, somewhat healthy. They don't want to put a very expensive appliance in someone that isn't very healthy physically. But just regular things you would have for someone to have a surgery like this that you would want in a person. Obviously, you have to be severe enough. So you have to at least have therapy twice and try all the meds. As far as my insurance experience, I have been on disability for a couple years now. That's how bad my OCD is. I just haven't been able to work. And since I worked previously earlier in my 20s, I qualified enough to get disability. I'm on Medicare and Medicaid because of being on disability. I don't get a lot of money, so I qualify for those. Medicare is my primary insurance, and the whole issue with that was back in 2017, February, when I first talked to Dr. Kaez, and they wanted to get insurance to cover it. For about a year, we had applied and they had denied, and we had applied and they had denied, and we had appealed and appealed and appealed. It got kind of redundant. So this last February of 2018, I met with the surgeon, and he ended up putting my name, because we were just generally trying to get the surgery covered. So he thought if we put my name attached to it and a surgical date, that they could maybe get it covered. So they did that, and they denied it, and I think we appealed it, and they denied it again. And so the U of U is now just going to go ahead and do the surgery, and they're going to try and bill Medicare for it after the surgery. But if not, they said I qualify for financial aid with how much money I'm making. So I'll be okay. I'm not going to worry about the money, because I feel like we have things worked out. Yeah, if you get this insurance, it's going to be, or if you get this surgery, you're going to want to see if your insurance will cover it. And if not, you'll have to talk with the surgical team and the hospital and everything. I don't know how they do it in other places. But it's been a long road for me, so I'm really excited for this experience. Next week, I will be meeting with Dr. Kaez a week before my surgery, and I will be doing another Y-Box score just to update it, because he hasn't done it for a year and a half with me. So he wants it to be updated for the surgery so that they have a up-to-date record. So I'll be going to see him and probably talk more about the surgery in depth. I'll make a video about that. I don't know. I might see if I can take the camera with me into the interview. If I can't, or it doesn't work out that way, then I will just tell you on camera. I am going to try and get video of the surgery. The nurse of the surgeon said that they have a camera team, because it's a learning university, college, hospital, a learning hospital. They do occasionally record video of their surgeries. And so I asked her if we could maybe book the camera guy or whatever to record the surgery. Obviously, I'm not going to put the whole surgery in there, because you're not going to want to see some of the surgery, but I want you to see everything that is entailed in this experience. I don't want you to miss out on something and then have the surgery, or if you're someone that is looking into the surgery, be confused because you didn't see something. I want it to be totally open. I want you to ask me questions. If you have questions, leave questions on under the video down below, and I will try and get back to you. Hopefully, I'm not very good at keeping up with things, but I'm gonna try. Yeah, so if you have any other questions or want to know more, just leave them below. I will also link some videos down below of some videos that I found helpful. There's this video on YouTube where it's this doctor talking about anxiety in the brain and what happens, what gets triggered and what happens physiologically when you have anxiety. A lot of times your body responds to a stimulus or something that happens. It responds to it before you even realize you are going to have a problem with it. And your body already puts you in the flight or fight mode. And so that's why anxiety is so hard to treat sometimes, is because it is so involved with it's so involved with things that you can't control. I can't control my heart racing, or I can't control my stomach feeling sick all of a sudden. It's not something I can control. I'll put maybe 1 or 2 links down below if I can figure out how to do that, and so you can watch it, because I found it very fascinating. Yeah, so I hope I see you next week. Hopefully I didn't talk too much. I'll probably edit out some of it because I babble too much. Yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope you stay tuned for the surgery in the next 2 weeks and anything after that happens. So I'll see you later. Bye.